Hey, it's Mark Lanier with your video thought for the day. Well, I wanted to talk this morning about God. That's a good thing to be thinking about each day, and today is no different than any other. And I want to do it in reference to an email I was sent by my buddy Skip McBride. Skip sent me this email and said, hey, here's some ideas for your video thought for the day. And one of them concerned the idea of letting God be God. Now, that may sound simplistic. It's not. It's actually one of the most profound things that we can struggle with because our tendency is not to let God be God. Our tendency is to let God be who we want God to be. Let me use a kind of an extended example from something that was in the write-up that Skip sent me. You'll notice there's a picture back here on the mantle. And that's a painting that my buddy John Clinton gave me one time. It's of our 5 kids. So that's Will, Gracie, Rachel, Sarah, and Rebecca, if you're going in clockwise order. And it's a pretty good representation of them. Yeah, I mean, Sarah didn't wind up going to Texas Tech, and that's a Texas Tech shirt she's got on. She went to Baylor and UT for law school, which is about as anti-Texas Tech as you can get. But that's a pretty decent representation of my kids, unless you're my kids. They don't think it looks like them at all, because their concept of what they look like is different than the concept of what the painter thought they looked like. There's a distinction between the 2's perception, or the 5's perception, with the 1. And so within a framework of that, I want to extend the analogy to God and how we perceive God versus who he really is, or even his self-perception, which we know would be accurate. He knows us, and he certainly knows himself thoroughly and totally. So the problem, I think, began back almost with the Garden of Eden. You've got this story in Genesis where God creates humanity in his image, and he imprints upon humanity certain aspects of himself: his morality, his ethics, his ability to make choices, his ability to control and govern certain things. And all of those are abilities and opportunities that he put in us. And so just as God is the capital C creator, we are little c creators. My sister Catherine creates with pottery on a routine basis. I try to create with words. We're creating with ideas. We are creative because we are image bearers of the C creator. The problem is this, though. While God made us in his image, we tend, as little c creators, to spend our time trying to create God in our image, trying to make God who we want God to be, rather than who he really is. And so the big chore for us is to know and to understand him, not who we've created him to be. Because God's not always the kind of God that I would like. My likes and desires are frequently influenced by my own sin, my own shortcomings, my own misdirection. And if I cannot try to define God by who I want him to be, but instead try to understand him for who he is, then I can begin to modify and let him change and mold me into a better reflection of his character, into a better image bearer. So I want to spend today, and I want to spend my life trying to learn more who God is so I can be more like him, rather than trying to make God more like me and more like I want him to be. Cart before the horse kind of thing. Got it? It's your video thought for the day. More tomorrow.